What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about British pudding and the best kinds of British pudding. Now, just to be clear, when Americans think of pudding, we think of this. We think of, semi-solid, chocolate, gooey, kind of artificial looking pudding in a little plastic cup that, it tastes kind of fake and artificial, but it's also kind of good in a weird way. And yeah, Americans love this stuff. And this is in very, very stark contrast to what British people call pudding, which would be more like this. This is completely different than what I think of when I think of pudding. This looks nice. This looks gourmet. It looks like cake. It's like cake that's been made in a bowl and flipped upside down, and it's really nice. And some of these are like this one's on fire, and this one is stuffed with things, and there's so many. So surprisingly, there's a really big difference between pudding, of all things, between America and Britain. So I wanted to look this up. On Wikipedia, it says, in the United States, pudding means a sweet milk-based dessert, similar in consistency to egg-based custards or mousse. Semi-solid, like custard, or I don't know, pudding. It's not like ice cream, but it's kind of in that same family, I guess. Whereas in the United Kingdom, Ireland, and some Commonwealth countries, the word pudding describes sweet and savory dishes. That is a big difference. That it's savory. The puddings in the United States are like chocolatey or vanilla, or sometimes there's some other kind of weird pudding that I won't even talk about. But today I found this little discussion I thought looked really fun on Reddit, where someone was asking, in your opinion, what is Britain's best pudding? And I thought this is a great opportunity to just learn about all the types of pudding in Britain. So, I love a Christmas pudding. Christmas pudding. See, even that. What is a Christmas pudding? Let me look this up here. Luckily, Google actually has definitions for this stuff. So, I'm looking at the pictures. I could not tell you what this is made of. And it's one of those upside-down flipped bowl-looking ones. Okay, Christmas pudding is sweet, dried fruit pudding. Oh, dried fruit. Traditionally served as part of Christmas dinner in Britain. So it's called Christmas pudding. So this dried fruit pudding is specifically the one that's served in Christmas time. So this person loves Christmas pudding, but appreciate many people do not. Oh, so it's kind of a hot topic issue if you like the Christmas pudding or not. We won't get into that. I was thinking, what is generally considered the best all-around pudding? I'm referring to sweet puddings. Oh, okay, so not black pudding. Is that the one made of blood? Or steak and kidney? There's steak and kidney puddings. I thought, aren't there steak and kidney pies? Or I also get the pies and the puddings a little confused at times, So steak and kidney pudding, although they're both delicious. Really? Steak pudding? Really? I actually want to look that up. Steak pudding. Oh, this is one of those that's filled in like a bready coating. You break it open and there's steak and kidney? Is this kidney of an animal or like kidney beans? I feel like it's kidney from an animal. Steak, potatoes. Is this a pudding? It's wild to me. I still can't get it through my head looking at this. Isn't this look more like a pie or a cake? It's just, for Americans, like, we would just never look at something like that and call it a pudding, just based on looks alone. But, different countries, we're different cultures, and we have different definitions for what pudding is. That's kind of the fun. All right, let's see what other people had to say is some of the best British puddings. Sticky toffee. Sticky toffee at least sounds kind of like snacky. Sticky toffee pudding. That is what comes up. Sticky toffee pudding. It looks sticky. What's it made of? Vanilla ice cream, brown sugar, heavy cream, butter, corn syrup. I think Americans would love this. This is the first pudding where I'm a little confused why it's a pudding, because it seems pretty solid. I would still call this a cake, but I'm gonna have to like get past that. That these are different than what I have always thought a pudding is. I've always considered Americans just think of pudding as like, semi-solid goo in a bowl that has a flavor, and that's basically it. But what I think of as more of a cake is more of a British pudding, and it looks great. Like, just to talk about this sticky toffee pudding, toffee flavored, like sweet. Yeah, I actually have no problem with that. No problem at all. And it's good with lots of sauce. Nothing worse than looking forward to a sticky toffee pudding and it coming with a measly dribble of sauce. This seems like a very specific grievance that has very specifically occurred to Brits before. This complaint. Not enough of the sauce on the sticky toffee pudding. So it's this sauce on top of it. Let me open some more images of this sticky toffee pudding. Oh, they got shirts. And they sell it like in little pre-made packages as well. This looks fantastic. This looks amazing. Wow. And is the sauce like caramel or toffee sauce or... This looks downright good. Like, I've never seen this. Sticky toffee pudding. And it's coming... It needs to be swimming. It needs to be swimming in the sauce. I agree. Ideally, with an additional jug of sauce available as well. Yeah. Oh, sticky toffee pudding with ice cream and a pint of butterscotch. My God, now we're talking. Oh my. All right, what else do we have? Sticky toffee pudding again. Is this just... I think we can go ahead and say, off the bat, the highest rated, like most upvoted pudding, the most upvoted British pudding in this discussion, I think, is sticky toffee pudding. Like, for sure. It makes me happy that this is both top comments. People seem pretty happy about this. Although it should be every comment. All right, but... Are there anything else besides sticky toffee pudding? Sticky toffee pudding is pretty amazing. Okay, sticky toffee pudding. It's fun to say. I can just say it over and over. Apple, and blackberry crumble also deserves a mention for being inoffensive, delicious, and comforting. Yeah, this might be kind of good that we're talking about sweet puddings here. Some of the savory stuff is so... outside my little American comfort zone that when we're talking about like steak and kidney pudding, that'd be super interesting to learn about, but God, tough for me to imagine actually eating. That is, our puddings are already so different that on top of it, the fact that there's British savory puddings with meat and bread, that's next level. So this is at least ones I can kind of relate to and pretty confidently say Americans would enjoy this. I would enjoy this. Apple pudding? Is that just with apples? Apple pudding. Apple pudding. Baked apple pudding. Grandma's apple bread pudding. Apple cake. Okay, is it baked in a tray? Like this? I can look at some other images. This is interesting. It's like got apple slices as well. One thing that really sticks out to me that needs to be said is Brits take pudding to the next level. Like, this is so far and beyond, and the presentation and the amount of ingredients is so above and beyond anything Americans have ever done with pudding. So hats off to you for that. This is like incredible stuff. And that's technically pudding. Pudding cake, okay, cool. Blackberry crumble? Blackberry crumble pudding? Can I look for pudding? Yeah, blackberry crumble? Wow. All of these look like a work of art, like it should be in a gourmet restaurant or something. Are these puddings like your grandma would make or your mom would make or that British people make around the house? Or How common is this? Are these puddings busted out for a good time? Because these look tough to make. Like American chocolate pudding is like you put pudding mix with water or something and stir it up and just like hate yourself while watching TV and eating chocolate pudding. And this seems like a much more joyous experience. Oh, it's in. This pudding is like you scoop it out of a big container, like a lasagna or something. Wow. I mean, it looks great. It honestly looks great. Okay. Oh, these would definitely be my go-to choices for a proper pudding. I'm having apple and blackberry crumble at my work Christmas lunch. Yeah, these puddings look pretty intense. Is this more of a holiday thing? Is there just a British pudding that's just the standard? I've heard of, you know what just came to my mind for that? Yorkshire pudding. What is Yorkshire pudding? Yorkshire pudding. I feel like that's a big one. Yorkshire pudding. What is it called in America? Popover. Never heard of it. Yorkshire pudding? Huh? This? I'm telling you, it just baffles me. This is just totally different stuff. This looks like a bread. I would never call this a pudding, but that's the beauty in it. So this is technically a British pudding. Yorkshire pudding. It looks like muffins? What? What's in it? I wanted to just know what's in it. What's in it? Oh, come on. Tell me what's in the Yorkshire pudding. Don't keep it a secret. Don't keep it a secret from me. I'm gonna find out. It's a classic British side dish, served with Sunday roast. Whoa! Okay, we don't need pop-ups right now. A runny batter made with eggs, milk, flour. Then it rests. Fat, such as beef drippings, bacon fat, or lard, is added. Then eggs. In the UK, the word pudding means something totally different than in America. Yes, that is, I've realized that. Rather than a creamy dessert, pudding can refer to sweet and savory dishes of all kinds. Oh, and it mentions sticky toffee pudding, of course. Wow, all right. I kind of understand the Yorkshire pudding. I know that wasn't mentioned in this discussion, but when Americans think of British pudding, for some reason that pops into our mind. Yorkshire pudding. Is that something that's more common? I was just thinking about which of these puddings are something that Brits might eat every week or every month, not just around the holidays, something a little more common. Or maybe you do eat all of these like year round. I don't know, except the Christmas pudding. That's for Christmas. No breaking the rules. We are Indian, and we've lived in London for 3 years on a secondment. 5,000 miles away and years down the line, I still dream of sherry trifle. Sherry trifle. What is the sherry trifle? Traditional English trifle? Not truffle, trifle. What is sherry trifle? Yes, perfect. It's a layered dessert of English origin. The unusual ingredients are a thin layer of sponge fingers, or sponge cake, soaked in sherry or another fortified wine, a fruit element like jelly, custard, and whipped cream in a glass dish. And it looks incredible. That is, I'm telling you, it's so fascinating. There seems to be endless amounts of British puddings with the craziest names and ingredients. And they all look like they belong in a gourmet restaurant. I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm looking at really nicely done Google images. Like maybe the sherry trifle pudding at like an average Brit's house is a little more sloppy than this. If I did this, it certainly wouldn't look like this. Wow. Yeah, I am totally convinced Americans would love this stuff. It's way next level puddings. Sherry trifle pudding for me every time. Sadly, everyone I know despises it. Oh, eating your way through an entire trifle can get a bit dispiriting. Is it hearty? I mean, I definitely, if there's one word for all these puddings besides amazing and gourmet, it's hearty. There's a lot going on here. It takes some effort to eat these puddings, and they all look like they're pretty much made in bulk to share with like the family. Whereas, in contrast with the American pudding, in true American fashion, we put it in little cups. We're very selfish. I want my own cup of pudding. I don't want to take it from the community bowl. All right, no. But we'll take it in little plastic containers, for sure. But some people make it in a big old bowl of pudding and then run away and eat the whole bowl themselves. Okay, Yorkshire pudding. It did make the list. I'm very happy. I was hoping I hadn't made up Yorkshire pudding being so famous in America. Savory popover dish. Yeah, it looks like I would have thought it was a muffin or a piece of bread. Not what we would consider pudding, but Yorkshire pudding. Clear winner. Yeah, it's very, very famous for some reason in the United States. But not knowing what it looked like, I had always just assumed it was pudding like how I think of pudding, like a big, gooey, semi-solid in a bowl. And I was like, oh, Yorkshire pudding, I wonder what that tastes like. And it's like, no, it's actually like this bready popover thing. By far the best option, and the first thing that came to mind. Simple, easy to make, versatile, and the cornerstone of any nutritious breakfast. Is this popular for a British breakfast? Americans really only have pudding for dessert. It's dessert, and not the most common dessert. You see them at buffets. That's the last time I can think of a pudding. And you do not want to touch the American buffet pudding. Trust me, you probably don't want to touch that, although you'd probably digest it pretty easily. But good luck to you later on in the night. And these puddings are just so different. Roast dinner, it goes with chips and beans, it goes with spaghetti bologna, it goes with everything. It's just a funny looking pancake. Right, it is a funny looking pancake. Okay, even I can understand that analogy. My other half makes a filthy apple and raspberry crumble. Otherwise, I'm childish, and I love trifle or jam roly-poly. Okay, I can't ignore jam roly-poly. Jam roly-poly? This looks like a cinnamon roll? Yeah, the definition of pudding is just... I know I keep saying this, but it's so different in Britain. Pudding can be anything. As far as I'm concerned, like, I don't understand what even is what's the technical definition of pudding in Britain? Could it be like a part, and you take a part out of your car and put jam on it, and you're like, this is technically pudding? Like, there's no... in America, pudding is only this semi-solid goo. And in Britain, it's really fun. It's like a bunch of sweet and savory, like bready or meaty or creamy and sweet or fruity or in this case, jammy kind of treat that, again, these look great as well. All these puddings, Americans would go nuts over. That's really cool. And probably because we were focusing on sweet puddings here, I know there's some other puddings, like in the beginning they were talking about black pudding and steak pudding and kidney pudding. That would be fun to learn about, but for the purposes of this, Britain's best puddings, this was something I could more relate to, and it was honestly super enjoyable just to learn about all these puddings. I'm sure there's so much more, but this was a good little intro to British pudding, which is so different, but so beautiful in its own wonderful British way. So I enjoyed this. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment, perhaps with what, in your opinion, what is the best British pudding? And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Britain and British culture and stuff about Britain I have never seen or learned before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.